I really feel like part alchemist, part scientist, part social person. I mean, I feel like it's a very challenging job, but I guess beauty is in the eye of the beholder. To me, it's a beautiful job that has tremendous rewards and is very sustaining to me as a person. But I think part of what I've noticed is in our society, people don't value who the farmer is or what the farmer is all about. I moved back here in 1983, largely because my grandfather was not in the best of health, and I had had experience working with elderly. And so I felt like that would be a good idea to come back into the community and be around to help him in his later years. And at that exact time, this farm opened up for rent. So, not believing in coincidence, I had one of those experiences of standing in a doorway of knowing that I'd be here for many years. North, south, east. This part of town was not very developed, and if you stood up on the hill and looked directly east, there wasn't a single light that was visible. So it was basically acres and acres of farm that at that time the family had rented out to a traditional farmer. Most of the property was farmed with chemicals. Because it wasn't their own land, they didn't really care for it in the way that they may have with rotations. So they grew corn there every year, which meant that there was a big burden on the soil for nutrient. We cover crop for about the first 8 years heavily, and that means that we grew oats, alfalfa, barley, winter wheat, and tried to get a rotation going to bring back the health of the soil and the wildlife also. The main reason that we're looking at other ideas for work is because of the impending development of the land directly adjacent to the farm. Otherwise, I don't think I'd be even considering it at this time. The thing that makes catering and cooking appeal to me is that it's taking the work of the farm and presenting it to people in a way that they can most enjoy it. I don't know that that would be the next career that I would choose if I were indeed to leave farming. I'm not quite sure what that would look like. About 8-9 years ago, the bulk of the original push of development came. The total farm encompassed about 110 acres, and now the only undevelopable part left in this area is 40 acres. And of that 40 acres, about 10 are trees. So there's not much left of actual crop ground in this area. It's predominantly grown houses. Houses and apartments in the last 10 years. This will be our 19th season now coming up. And so that was roughly, 9-10 years ago. We felt like we had put an 8 or 9 years in at that point, and that we still had enough farmable tract left and protection from encroachment that we were in an okay position. I mean, we've had different types of seasons and different types of workers. Primarily, though, in the last 5 years, it's been one very good friend who is a partner in the farming operation. And between her name is Sarah, and I, we take on the bulk of the responsibilities. And we normally have some other folks from the community that participate in some level, people that have a natural inclination to want to learn more about what we're doing. We have a renovated barn, and we have traded a free place to stay and free food in exchange for some hours per week and the education that they'll receive in how to do this, how to grow organically. We get a lot of people up to the farm into April, the beginning of spring, and then we don't really see people much when the weather gets hotter. We see a lot of people then toward fall that kind of rediscover the farm. A friend of mine has a real nice bumper sticker. It says, "Let's all drive to the Clean Air Rally." And I think that we have a lot of people that love to talk about how well they're doing at saving others or the earth or whatnot. But again, what you do day in and day out, I think, matters a lot more than what you talk about. So I think as we get older, I'm now 42, that we The small things in life tend to be more valuable. You notice them more, whether it be a nice conversation or a nice crop of peas or helping somebody along the way. My general sense is that, what we physically do speaks a lot about who we are. So I would say that, maybe a little less chin music, a little more elbow grease. Again, the nice thing about the work that I do is that it does provide me with some flexibility to be around my kid. That's a big value to me. It's probably the number one most valuable thing in regard to my career that I appreciate the most. It isn't so much growing the organic vegetables, but literally having a schedule that's flexible enough that I can take part in my kid's life in a direct manner. I don't know that there was a thought one day where I said, I want to make a career out of this. As I looked at the ills in society, and this would have been in 1975, 1976, I thought in my own mind that we have to look to where a lot of illness begins, and I truly believe to this day that the illness begins in our relationship with the earth. If we are healthy at that place and juncture, then good health can proceed from there. Wendell Berry calls it defeated landscapes. As you look around today, it's no different than 75 in that regard. You can see these defeated landscapes, trash, pollution, a real lack of caring for the land that we live on. I think when I started out, I was a young kid, I was very idealistic. I thought that this would be the way to make a big contribution to people that I loved and to society as a whole. And I think as I've gotten older, I've realized that many people that I know think that I've underachieved because I don't make a lot of money and I don't really worship money or material things. And I think that that's generally perceived as low achieving in our society. The impending development, well, it looks like it's coming. I mean, it's getting closer and closer. And so probably inevitable. Unfortunately, it's my own family that's doing the development. So there are issues there that aren't real pretty, and I don't really like to look at much. But one of the terms that they've used, or phrases, is that they think this land should be used for its highest and best purposes. And in their mind, what that means is what can make the most money up here. And I am certain that growing houses and apartments will make more money in the short run than any organic vegetables that I were to produce from here. But I do believe that what we're doing with the land now is its highest and best purpose. That's just a matter of opinion, and that's my opinion.